stepping into the room, the only sound that protrudes is the respirator that's attached to this man, his face. You hear every time he goes to take a breath, feels labored, to say the least. But as you enter, he remains still motionless in bed, just this red organ pulsing by his side, identical to that of the beast you encountered, the core where the memory's restored. What would you like to do?
I think I might throw up.
Fright not. Saurus, let there not be night, as I guide you to summon me my holy light. As he casts light on his holy cross to enlighten the room.
The room illuminates. It's bright inside now, and you can see it's not dust on the floor, on the walls, but just this thin layer of red mist, as if somebody's blood had aerosolized and lightly deposited itself on everything in the room. It's sticky to the touch.
What in the damnation has happened here? What are we even looking at?
I don't like it. I don't like this at all.
I ain't gonna talk like I'm any kind of doctor or authority on this thing, but I'm just gonna say what I can for certain. I don't think he's alright.
It's like he's looking at us. Look over there. It seems similar. The organ. The eye.
You think he's dangerous?
I assume so.
Oh, yes.
Nihilus takes a step closer into the room.
And Wes, none of this pinged my detect magic, right? This is...
Very similar to when you were in the room itself and you detected magic on the creature. Whatever it is not giving you a magical eminence.
Right.
As another breath is taken.
She's going to try to use subsume thoughts to speak to Dr. Veering into his mind. But first she speaks to Nihilus in his mind. Well, I hope this doesn't fry my brain. But if it does, it was basically nice to know you, Nihilus.
He puts his hand on her shoulder and casts guidance.
And she says into Dr. Veering's mind, knock, knock, anybody ho?
You feel as though you hear music in the background, quietly, in the recesses of his mind, just echoing outward. And as you say this, you hear a response. Yes? Who's there?
This is Dr. Isadora Glass, making a professional call upon Dr. Samuel Veering.
Oh, fantastic. Another doctor. Yes, feel free to come in, make yourselves comfortable. I can invite you shortly. I'm busy right now, as you could probably tell.
Yes, are you trapped in a monster of some sort?
Trapped? I don't know. It's not the word I would use. But as I said, I'm busy. I'm performing a surgery. If you could make yourselves comfortable. Open your minds.
Oh, you're too kind. We would not want to intrude. She starts gesturing. She makes like the throat cut gesture to her allies.
Oh, it's no intrusion. Believe me, I love having guests. And new people, well, that's as exciting as it gets.
Yes, well, we do have other stops to make today. I just wanted to send my regards. Constantine says hello.
Oh, Constantine. How interesting. Well, tell him I said hello.
I will do my best. I don't know if I'll be seeing him again. Did he ever finish that job you paid him for?
No, he failed miserably, is what I'm told.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, well, sometimes things get out of control. It's to be expected when you don't do things yourself. Anyway.
Why didn't you do things yourself? As you can probably tell, I feel the same way.
Oh, yes, just a small matter. Being completely bedridden and unable to move in a catatonic state for about, last I checked, at least 39 years, maybe 40. I can't tell anymore.
Oh, you were at the time. So Constantine met you here, or how did you talk to Constantine?
Like I said, I'm performing a surgery, and if we were to have a conversation, I would prefer to do it face to face. So if you'd like to get whatever answers you're looking for here, make yourselves comfortable, open your minds, and when I'm done, I will invite you in.
I'll relay that to the others. I'll let you do your work for the moment. And she...
Thank you. And immediately you feel the connections sever like a door being slammed in your face.
And she ushers everyone out into the hall and relays that conversation.
Wes, is it likely at all that Esper would find the sound of a respirator familiar?
Why would she?
My line of thought is that in the asylum where they stayed in, it might be possible that patients may do damage to themselves or incur damage on them that could put them in a state of needing some sort of aid with struggle breathing.
I would say roll a history check.
I do still have a level of exhaustion, so I rolled a natural 20 and a natural 1 for a -1.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me think for a moment. You were in a room when you were small. Early days of being in the system, of seeing doctors, of having visits, of getting medicated. And a doctor walks into the room. He steps in, looks down at you. You shake your medicine.
Yes?
Good. Because you're being transferred. And he grabs onto your hand very tightly, uncomfortably tightly.
Where am I being... Where are you taking me?
He begins pulling you through the door and dragging down the hall.
You had to... Where are we going? Where am I being taken to?
He's not saying anything, and he passes a door, and there inside, just for a moment, you hear a familiar sound, like the sound of a respirator. But he grabs onto your hand even more tightly, and whatever insight you might have gained is lost to his dragging you through the halls until he gets to the door where there is a carriage with a large metal trunk in the back. Padded. Get in.
Let go of me. Let go. No. No, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Look at me. He grabs onto your shoulders and pulls you into the direction to see him.
Go. You can't make me. You can't.
Your parents
I'm
are
not
done. They're not paying for this bill anymore. You're being transferred. It's over. He picks you up and tosses you into the padded trunk and slams it closed. That's what you remember of the sound of a respirator.
I think then, especially because my role was terrible, that it isn't that I remember clearly the event, but it's more like the noise of that big, long, raspy inhale snaps. By the time Dr. Glass has ended the conversation, Esper's not even in the room anymore. She had sprinted down the stairs and made for the front door.
I'm gonna go see if I can catch up to her. I think
You do that.
I'll be right back. Trevor's just gonna stick his head out and say, "You good?"
A second.
Okay. I know it's rough out there.
You just...
Listen, I'm grasping at straws here, trying to figure out what's got you in a tizzy.
Do you ever like out of nowhere, do you ever smell something or see something or hear something and it brings you back in your mind to something so long ago and you don't even really remember what it was, but you can remember how it felt?
Yeah, I can. Esper, I understand if something happened there that overwhelmed you. You know, we go through a lot in our life thinking, time heals wounds. But some people know that ain't always true, Sometimes we just forget about it, A lot of time, sometimes that's how we heal, and it ain't until we see it again that we realize we ain't done any healing at all. So I get it.
I think you got it really right. You hit that nail. Calm down. Could I ask you something?
I mean, yeah. I'm here. Like, what do you need?
Today, when we're talking over breakfast and now in the room with whatever that man has become, but yesterday too, you and everybody else, but you were there right up against it, the same as me. How do you put how afraid you are to the side and choose to do something about it?
Takes a deep breath. There is a pause.
I don't know what to do.
As he's clearly looking for the words to say.
I don't know how to do that. I've never...
Try and put some part of them at ease. Let's put it this way, I suppose. It wasn't that I wasn't scared. I was terrified. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that thing, when I looked at that creature, it reminded me of my own feelings, And then I kind of went a little crazy. My whole life I was I have to be physical. If something's scary, that just means that there are parts of my thinking that need to take a rest, take a break. But fear never really goes away.
No.
When you're in a spot where anything can happen, and there's a good chance that you probably won't make it out of there the same as you went in, you need to think about other things. You need to think about why you're here. You need to think about the positive things that you got to come back to. Now, I don't claim to know what your life was like before I met you. And I ain't gonna make no assumptions. But, like, courage ain't the absence of fear. You know? It needs it. So, there are times where you gotta use that fear. See, if I died up in that room, there's a lot of things I didn't do that I wish I could have done. And that's the fear that kept me going.
You have things that you want to look forward to, is what you mean. Things that you can hang on to.
There's another long pause. I like to think so. I think the key thing to keep in your head is when you're feeling like this, and when the chips are down and you got to do something, you got to use the fear. Turn it into survival. You made it this far, right? How would you do that?
Like in the basement.
Exactly. There's a lot of times where, after the fight, I wonder how I was capable of such a thing. Whether... I'm serious, all right? I grew up as like some pissant farm boy. I weren't built for fighting, but I don't know, maybe it's the orc in me or something, but when I'm in the middle of scrap, there's something that just takes over. And I gotta work hard to not become that. So maybe when you feel fear, it's something else. Maybe it ain't just fear. Maybe it's something trying to sneak its way into you. Maybe it ain't just fear. Maybe it's sadness. Maybe it's anger. Maybe you're mad at something. So maybe when the going gets tough, your best bet, don't shoo that anger away. Let it drive you.
I couldn't push my anger aside, no matter how hard I tried. So maybe that's my ticket. If something scares me, if it reminds me of anything, then I can remember how angry I am about why I was afraid in the first place.
I don't claim to know you, but I know that there's that spark in you. People try to control you, right? They want you to be a certain way, right?
Yeah. Yes, they do.
And the fear is how they get you to do that. Turn that fear into something else. Turn it on them.
Is it bad that I heard that noise and all I thought was I wanted to go over to that man in that bed and rip that mask off?
Now, if I were a smarter man, I might have said, you shouldn't let your baser instincts get the better of you. But I ain't a smarter man. I'd have done the exact same thing.
Esper's gonna, sort of shuffle their weight a bit get up on their toes slightly and reach a hand up towards Trevor. To not being smart people.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There's no need to thank me. Just,
There is. We should go inside
are you okay?
and see that they're okay. No, but I'm better than I would have been if you hadn't come to check up on me.
All right.
So, try to work with it.
We can settle with better.
We can settle with better.
Dr. Glass, Nihilus von Stonen. Please roll intelligence saving throws with disadvantage.
With Bardic, I believe I get to choose after I see the roll. So I'm going to roll and... that added a whole 5 for a total of 16.
My dice came up 15 and 17, so I have a 17.
Dr. Glass, you hear a voice in your head. All right, I'm done. Are you ready for our meeting?
I think out loud, Dr. Glass says, Nihilus, let's just smash everything.
Well, that's... Wait a moment, it's quite peculiar, interesting how this man would, in theory, in fact, would have lived in this room for up to 40 years, even with assistance. It's quite a marvelous feat. And look at all this technology he has here. Even if it were to go 40 years back, I've not seen something like this before, have you?
Are you familiar with the concept of an autopsy, Nihilus?
Well, yes, of course. But
Wes, is there a plug that Dr. Glass sees that she could maybe pull?
Yes, if you like, you could.
are you feeling threatened right now, Dr. Glass?
Yes, I've been stabbed in the back by one too many friendly doctor colleagues and ones who are performing surgery psychically while affiliated with mind beasts. I don't really want to be their friends.
Right. Well, I'm here to have your back. Do not fret. But if you think that is the wisest decision, I will follow your lead.
And I think she's going to mage hand pull the plug.
You go to look towards the plug, and it's almost as if you blinked and you're standing maybe 7 steps closer to this person with your arm outstretched. Dr. Glass, you seem to have snapped out of it, but Nihilus continues to walk towards the man with his hand outstretched. DC was a fail for Nihilus, a success for Dr. Glass.
All right. I smack the organ with my cane.
Is your attack intended to be lethal?
I assume Nihilus is still in trance.
He is. He takes 2 more steps towards the man, his hand maybe just 6 inches away from the organ.
18 to hit.
You smash the organ. The cane goes through the meat as it basically explodes into blood and gore around the table. And with that, this man draws his last breath. Nihilus, you're conscious.
Good riddance to bad doctors.
Oh, it's over already? Oh, that was quick.
I'm sorry to interrupt our dialectic, Nihilus, but it was entrancing you and drawing you inwards.
Truly.
And I didn't think... Yes, I'm afraid so. And I as well, me as well, but I snapped out of it just a second ago.
He goes to take a step closer towards the man, seeing... I know I shouldn't say this, but what a shame.
You should say how you feel. I don't feel that way in that exact...
I feel like opening the blinds, firstly.
Yes.
This place is dusty and bloody as hell.
The light casts its way in, illuminates the room. You see the lifeless body of this man beside you as Esper and Trevor open the door, and you also see this.
Did you happen to learn where it's from? Why it's here? What its purpose is? What it's doing? How it got created?
No, he was clever enough to just dangle a carrot at my curiosity to try to get me to open my mind to him, but...
This don't look right.
He did say he was performing surgery, which could mean literally physically, as in he is possessing someone's body and physically performing surgery, in which case I hope they survived. Or it could have been a more psychic surgery.
You're back.
I'm glad to see that you're all right. It looks like you've taken care of that.
What about you? Are you alright, Esperanza?
Yes, it started to possess our minds and entrance us and draw us in, and I just smashed it.
Did you? Trevor, I wasn't wrong after all about that thought.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Nice. I'll be better. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
The thing on his head, it was like the other monsters, right? Is it still there?
It was.
I wish I could have preserved it, but I had to act quickly. I'll give him a look over, though.
Nyla's also gonna look around the room.
Investigation from both of you, please, Dr. Glass and Nihilus.
Alright, for a total of 22.
21 investigation.
Nihilus. The walls old, the floors old. The machine that's next to him, it's unique. It's not like a standard hospital device. It looks handmade. This contraption has several bags attached to it that fill with air and deflate with each breath. The rest of the room there's not much to be found, except for that slick mist that seems to have gathered on the walls and floors. Looking into it a bit as you rub it between your fingers, it has an organic texture to it, but what exactly it is unclear.
Having a close look at the machine, the handcrafted particles, would there be any insignia, any recognized features, able to tell who or what made it?
Every part machined, made specially for it. But it seems to run on a mechanism that has some familiar properties. You hear a clicking coming from the machine, and it reminds you a lot of the ticking of a watch. You can guess that whoever made this is familiar with the making of timepieces.
He notes that down in his notebook as well. This will take him some time as well.
Dr. Glass, you look over the body, and you see this man clearly hasn't moved in the entire 40 years he presumed to have been here. The skin folds over itself onto the bed. He almost looks flat like a pancake. His chest, his muscles, his bones all deflated like a balloon that's lost its air. The skin in between all of the folds has these pustules of lack of cleanliness over that period of time. The face barely has any recognition as the skin has sagged and spread itself over the bed. And all you see that bears any life to it is this organ that is now smashed next to him. The glow from it has dissipated, and you just see an outpouring onto the floor of a red pus.
I wonder if poor Marta was here just for maintenance. Well, hopefully she'll be a little more forthcoming
Yeah,
now that she's safe.
it certainly makes most sense. It's not like he was doing it on his own.
Luckily, we know where she should be going.
Wes, could you describe the pustules again? Does Dr. Glass feel like they're associated with disease or with being bedridden? I forget.
Oh, I would love to describe the pustules.
If you would.
My gift to you as a player.
This organ, as it drips onto the floor, this red pus like liquid, it's thick. It doesn't drip rhythmically. It's goopy as it kind of falls off of the bed, but it does, especially with your investigation roll, look, I hate to say clean because that's not really the word that probably is appropriate here, but it doesn't look pestilent in like this rotten green type liquid sense that you'd expect from an infection. It looks like organic material, more so. And with that, there is a slamming on the door downstairs, and you hear, "Martha! Martha! Open the door!"
Nihilus goes towards the window at the top floor, sees if he can peek something outside.
You look out and you see a half-orc, dressed somewhat nicely, banging on the door.
How old is he?
Do I recognize some of his features?
First of all, give me a perception check with advantage to account for the group.
For a total of 23.
He's healthy and well built, but old. That's clear. Wrinkles on his face. He doesn't look panicked. He looks urgent. He wears a suit, an expensive one at that. Martha!
Nihilus gets back inside. I believe this is our dear Mystery Merc. Our dear Constantine. My eye does not betray me. Let's welcome him. Don't forget, we've never met him before in our lives.
I'm excellent at pretending that.
Nihilus goes downstairs.
Fine. I'm not leaving this room, though. I need to make sure this thing don't try anything funny.
But don't get sick, as he puts his hand on you and casts guidance as he walks downstairs.
Nihilus, you head downstairs into the living area. Walking through the room, you get to the door. And are you opening it for this man?
Right before opening, he dismisses the illuminating light on his holy cross, tries to tidy up whatever he can from the blood mist, as he would call it, that is infected on his clothes, and he opens the door in a greeting, welcoming stance.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm Nihilus von Stonen, Inquisitor, at your service. Although, if I am guessing correctly, you must be Constantine?
Roll an athletics check.
Oh, shit. Was not expecting that.
Yeah, that's not what any of us.
Hello, friend. It's good old Zero.
He grabs onto your collar, dragging you out of the building and slamming you against the wall right outside. Who the fuck are you? Where's Martha?
I told you I'm... Oh, crap in my throat. I told you I'm Nihilus. Let me go.
He throws Nihilus onto the ground into the bushes and barges his way in. Martha!
Esther's gonna stand at the top of the stairs.
I would love to say Nihilus is not resisting, but he is, and it's not a difference.
Esther's going to stand at the top of the stairs. Does he pass by her vision?
He walks first across the room to the kitchen, looks through some of the adjacent doors, and then finally looks towards the staircase. Damn it. And he starts walking towards the stairs.
There is a look of sudden, not oh no in the I'm scared way necessarily, but it is oh no, it's you in an angry way.
He starts walking up the stairs, and I presume you're visible at this point to him, right?
Yes.
Who are you? Out of my way! And he goes up the stairs, trying to brush right past you as he goes up towards the room.
I don't think so.
Do you stop him?
Yes.
Roll athletics.
With disadvantage, that is a 17.
He pushes you against the wall as he passes. Everybody hears Esper slam against the wooden wall as the footsteps continue up the stairs.
Bitch.
Marta, you better be up here!
Hello? Hello, Marta? Is that you?
He stops at the door as he looks inside.
You're not Marta. Who are you?
Did you do this? He walks towards the bed and inspects the body. And then looks towards Dr. Glass.
She's hunching over a little, trying to look older than she is. What have you done with Marta?
Trevor's just like, eyes are darting in between Glass and the body and Constantine.
What have you done?
Well, obviously Marta ain't here, you fucking idiot.
What have you done?
Ain't done nothing, she here.
You see a vein in his head kind of popping out with anger as he looks towards the body. Do you know who that is?
An old man that kind of got a little too fucking old.
You see him shaking his head left to right in just utter disappointment and almost in pain. You have no idea. And he turns towards the door. You're dead.
I'm gonna bolt
You're all
towards
dead.
him and try and grapple him.
Roll athletics.
All I know is that he's a Van Thorn.
Fuck him up, fuck him up.
It's a 21.
For the first time, somebody actually apprehends him. You hold on to him. You don't know what you're doing. And you're showing your ignorance, whoever the fuck you are.
That ain't hard. But that being said, you ain't going talking to your buds.
You want to talk? I'll talk. He turns.
So how about you enlighten us instead of grabbing us by our throat first? I did properly announce myself.
That's Samuel Veering. Do you know who that is? Does that name mean anything to you?
I know he's the man who duped you about 50 years ago, Constantine.
You have no idea what happened 50 years ago.
And she casts Detect Thoughts.
On the surface level, you hear the sentiment of, who are these people? How could they possibly have made their way in here? You know, and you can feel with your Detect Thoughts not an emotion of anger as much as
Disappointment?
determinism.
Ooh.
He got you to bring that creature into the hotel, and it got loose. I don't know if that's why Gregory killed Eliza. I don't know if that would have happened anyway. Why would you still be working with a man who'd caused all of that carnage?
Ah, you're my assassins. I was wondering what happened to that beast. Well, let me enlighten you. You just killed a surgeon, but not just any. You killed the noble's best during a very important surgery. You've just made an enemy of half the families on the island.
Well, only if you tell them it was us.
I don't have to tell them. They'll know. They have their ways.
When you're speaking of a surgeon, the families, what would be connected between you two?
Whatever. Listen, man. You are talking fucking crazy. He was laying in a bed, hanging over the side for years looks like. What kind of surgery was he doing?
Ignorance. All of you.
Well,
And we're stuck on this island now. And you know who's gonna die? Me. Me!
What?
You've killed me!
There's no need for that.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Well, again.
How could this man possibly be performing surgeries in a state like this?
40 years ago, Samuel underwent a procedure. He cut a piece of that beast that you killed and grafted it to himself. Goes to show that when it's in the control of a monster, it acts monstrous. But when that kind of power is in control of a human, it does something special.
Like what?
A doctor in the Citadel, a doctor in Port Hillcrest, advisor. This let him assume the minds of some of the island's best before they passed. You didn't just kill one man. You killed 10 very important men.
Who were about to pass naturally, and he took them over before that could happen?
Oh, look like the ignorance has its limits. Yes.
you said he was working on someone in the Citadel, huh? High up? You got any idea who that was?
And I've still got the tech thoughts going.
Lady Evelyn Van Thorn, the matriarch of the Van Thorn family. You better hope she lives, because this island will be brought to hell if she doesn't.
Oh, rough stuff, buddy. So, there's some way that folks can put their brains in other folks' brains. Whatever. I'll say you're right, and you ain't just bluffing to try and get out of this situation. So they know that we done what we done.
Let's just say, if they don't know, they will. And that's not a threat. That's just reality. As the bells of the city start ringing.
Well, in that case, we can't really make sure we get out of this completely clean, but we can buy ourselves some time. You can't leave, right?
The bells get louder as you hear carriages now rummaging through various streets, commotion all around the city.
It sounds like it doesn't matter whether he leaves, that the Van Thorns are going to know about this regardless, and he'd be in as much danger from telling them. And she says that mostly just to get Constantine's response in her detect thoughts.
You hear 43, 42, 41, 40.
I think it's time we all left. Immediately.
There's been enough killing. Leave him here.
And she casts a second level sleep on Constantine.
Okay. How many hit points is that?
26 hit points of sleep. Not great.
I'll get us somewhere safe, and then you're on. And then, as he slumps back and falls onto the ground.
Oh,
Well, that worked.
we have to
I
go.
don't like the sound of everything. We
I
have
don't
to
think sleep
leave.
has ever worked for me. That was amazing.
Are we not killing him?
I suppose.
Are we serious here?
Yes. There's been
Just
enough
leave him here.
death.
I don't trust him.
I think he's making sure that we know that it's going to be our death if they know that it was us.
He was counting down in his head. Sorry, I didn't say that.
It was counting down.
Oh.
Right.
He was.
You begin to hear an air horn blaring from the citadel all the way in the center of the island. The noise so loud, it makes its way, blaring all the way here.
Run.
You all run and don't wait for me.
If we take him with us, he's gonna weigh us down. If we don't, he's gonna wake up and rat us out. Fuck this. I'm
If we can't, we don't have
I
the
think we
time.
leave him.
We have to leave.
All right, whatever you
gonna
want
try
to do,
and fucking
Trevor.
kill him. I'm gonna
Nile starts leaving.
drop him to the
I said
ground
go.
and like step on his head.
Trevor, go ahead and roll your full action of attacks that you can make twice.
Assuming I'm not flurry of blows, I get two attacks per turn. Okay, so altogether, that is 11, 18, 22, 29 points of bludgeoning damage.
Remember how much that sleep spell was?
Was less than that.
I believe it was 26. Or was it less than that?
Trevor, how do you want to do it?
Basically, mechanics-wise, I rolled for multiple hits. But I believe when someone is just laying prone, it'll just take one good smack to really do what you want. Basically, throw him down to the ground, and as he's face down, I just do a big stomp right to the back of his neck.
And I think Esper is in the doorway watching because they don't want to leave Trevor in case the people come. And there's shock awash on their face at first, but slowly straighten up, look at Trevor, and just give a nod.
All right, let's go, quick.
Let's go. Yes.
You run towards the stairs, all commutatively. You make your way down. You hear the siren blaring from the center of the island so loud, it still pierces your ears all the way at this distance. The bells of the city ring behind that. And as you step onto the streets, you see there are spotlights everywhere pointed towards the sky. It illuminates the sky in all places as they kind of all teeter around, kind of making a visual version of this alarm. And you can see carriages of militants riding down various streets and alleyways, none yet on your street. You step running out onto the cobblestone street in front of you. And that's where we'll end today's session.